Hello everybody. So if you don't know what a soft spoken ASMR video entails, it basically just entails talking but at a lower volume, of course. I personally love I love soft spoken ASMR. The first person who gave me tingles from it is, of course, ASMR Alyssa, my queen. And at first, though, it took me a while. Like, whenever people would do soft spoken in their ASMR, I would like fast forward to when they were whispering again. Or I would just not even watch the video because at first, sometimes with new triggers, I get like creeped out. I don't know. It's more so earlier on when I started watching and listening to ASMR videos, but nowadays I really like soft spoken, and now it just depends on my mood. If I'm in the mood more for soft spoken or just general ASMR whispering. But yeah, now I really like soft spoken ASMR. I feel like I need to clear my throat. I just got done eating. I also, okay, so I don't have like a set plan of things I want to talk about in this video, but I do want to mention mouthwash. I think I mentioned that in a recent video. But sometimes nowadays I will use mouthwash, especially with the nut butters that I eat. They leave a lot of like chunks of stuff in my teeth. And so I like to use mouthwash and then get it out before I'm on camera, even though I feel like at least once a month in one of my videos you will see like food or something in my teeth. They look really white right now though. It's because of the mouthwash. My teeth have like always more so tended to look yellowish. I don't know. Like, I've always brushed my teeth really good, except for maybe after I got my braces off. And then I'm like, because I would have to brush my teeth for like 10 minutes straight at night, and I would try to in the morning if I had time as well. So yeah, maybe that's why I just hated brushing my teeth. But now I floss, and now occasionally I use mouthwash. So I was gonna use gum, but I'm not in the mood for using gum. I had quite a bit of chocolate, and with dark chocolate, if you have like that, already aggravates my GERD, and chewing gum actually aggravates my GERD nowadays. I think it always has, but at least in recent years. So I have to be careful about chewing gum and when I want to do that. But I want to do a chewing gum video soon. I'll do that soon. I feel like there was something else I was supposed to say before I went off on this tangent. It can be kind of hard to actually talk like this because it's putting like strain on my throat to talk like this because it's not just a whisper. So you have to like utilize your inner throat muscles and what is inside the bones, joints. I never claimed to be an anatomy expert. I never took anatomy class in high school, but my sister did, and I think she took the college course one. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. Maybe she actually didn't. But she talked about how, they would have to dissect stuff and they would have to go to the hospital and they looked at cadavers, and like, I wouldn't be able to do that. I can't even. The last funeral I went to, I didn't know the person. I met them maybe once or twice. It was somebody my mom used to work with, and they passed away of cancer, and I couldn't even go up to the casket, like even the brief amount, because as soon as you walked into like this church right off to the right, they were right there. I'm like, oh my god, people are walking up to them. I'm like, I have such a weird connection with like death. I've said this before, I think on here, maybe I haven't, but I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid of not accomplishing the things that my soul wants me to accomplish before I reincarnate, or hopefully never reincarnate again, not in like a negative way, but just like to live as an eternal spirit within the realm of consciousness, and that just sounds so lovely. One of my spirit guides is like that. That's a whole different story. If you believe in that kind of stuff. But this is not my Brittney Cystic Healing channel. I feel like when I ramble on, I tend to want to talk about what interests me the most, and what interests me the most is my like spiritual and holistic stuff, and ASMR too. But it's like, I guess I could just talk about other ASMR creators, but the main one that I watch, my OG that I've said before, is ASMR Alyssa. The person who originally got me really into ASMR though, like after got me into starting to watch it back when they were a lot smaller of a creator, was Batal's ASMR. I haven't actually seen them in a while. Because mainly I watch ASMR Alyssa, but I still watch other people's stuff too, like ASMR Jade. Yeah. I try to watch ASMR. Period. What else is, I feel like, so when we were at the funeral, I couldn't go up to the casket because it just doesn't feel right, because I believe in, like, I won't be on this topic for too long, but because I'm trying to have it be relaxing, but maybe it'll be relaxing because you can relate. I'm not scared of death, but seeing somebody not alive anymore, their soul is not inhabited within that body, and so it just does not feel right, doesn't feel like that person, and it just, I can't do it. I feel like when I was younger, I maybe would have been fine with it. I mean, I haven't gone to many funerals, but when I have, I've been a lot younger. And like almost a couple years ago now, my uncle passed away, and he was out of state. He was at the Crystal and Gem show in Arizona in Tucson, and it was just about to start the next day, but in the middle of the night is when he apparently passed away. And I think he was staying the night at a friend or acquaintance's place, but he missed the show, and so then people were checking up on him, and they found him, and he passed away of like an embolism or a blood clot in the lungs, and so that would be like a pulmonary embolism. And they think that the reason he had that was likely due to COVID. They don't know for sure, but they think it was because he had COVID. He was feeling pretty good. He had a little bit of a cough the night before. He was a little bit like congested, but it wasn't anything bad, he said. So apparently the results showed that, because apparently it might have also been that he passed away from a fall, if I remember correctly. So he may have fallen while trying to get up and get help, which is really sad. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make this sad. So I'm saying this, I didn't have to say all that, but I'm rambling. So when I ramble, I'm just like thinking. And so he passed away very out of state. I live in Minnesota, and he lived in South Dakota, because that's where he was near the, he was around Mount Rushmore. He lived in a town he lived in Custer, South Dakota, which is outside of Rapid City, and there's a lot of area. It's a good area for digging up dinosaur bones, so he was a paleontologist, so that's what he did. And his family, like his children, lived in North Dakota, and so when he passed away, like, it was a whole ordeal trying to get him back and figuring out when to do that. Thankfully, I don't know much about the process of having to do that, but when I'm like, I would love to live in California, which is really interesting. My dad grew up in Hawthorne, California, which is in Los Angeles, and he's met some cool people, most notably, and he used to go to concerts when, like, it was like $5 to get a front row seat, or like standing like in a big auditorium. And he was near Inglewood, and I know that in Inglewood, like, here's Hawthorne. Well, it's probably different for the way you're viewing it, but Hawthorne is just to the left of Inglewood, or it's just below. I think it's just to the left. It's near Compton as well. But anyway, so in Inglewood, I know there's a big center for, like, where people hold concerts and, like, their sporting events there. So he would go there quite a bit, I believe, is where he would go, and he he's been to so many concerts. But he's met Tina Turner and Ike Turner before because his dad was an electrician, and they had to fix something at the studio, and so that is my cat scratching on the scratching post. I apologize. It will not last forever. Now he's looking back at me. Now he's doing it again. And he's still doing it. And now I think he thinks I'm talking to him. He's gonna jump out now. He almost fell. And he almost brought down the cat tower with him. And then I would have had to start over. He always knows when I'm doing ASMR stuff. Like, he sleeps and stuff a lot of the day. Soon, even if I'm not talking in my videos, he knows. He knows. I think he honestly really likes the attention. So he's like, oh, you're doing something, I want the attention. Also, cats are just curious, you know how that goes. Anyway, my dad has a lot of cool stories about growing up in California. And, like, he was born in the early 50s, so, like, he was a teenager during, like, peak hippie era. Like, everything going on there. Oh my god, I'm gonna, like, an emotional. Whenever I've thought about this, like, him being there, like, at the peak time of being in Los Angeles, in my opinion, just, like, I've told them, I'm like, that is just crazy to think about. I'm like, that is so amazing that you lived there during that time and that you have all of these experiences, like, specifically these music experiences. I'm like, that is just so amazing. So I don't want to live in California because of my dad having lived there. Because I don't want to live in that area. Hawthorne is one of the more rundown areas. It's right by the Los Angeles airport as well. I don't know where the Los Angeles airport is technically. I don't know if it's in Hawthorne or if it's in the area just to the left of Hawthorne though. So I don't know if it's technically considered in Hawthorne, the Los Angeles airport. But I want to live, like, I don't want to live deep in the city. I just want to live somewhere in California near enough to the city, but I want to live somewhere warm. Because here's the thing, I have very bad circulation issues because of the health issues that I have going on. But I also have a lot of trauma, and I've talked about this before in here, but I have a lot of trauma associated with cold and the weather and ice and snow specifically. But and I just don't do good in the bad weather, and I'm very positive. I have undiagnosed PTSD. I'm very positive. When I brought it up to my most recent therapist from however many years ago, she talked about how everything was all in my head. And then guess what? I got diagnoses. So I'm like, it's obviously not all in my head. And she was just absolutely awful. I've never had a good therapist, by the way. Do any of you go to therapy? Like, by a long shot, the best advice and help I've ever gotten from a therapist is continuing to be. I even watched one of his videos just before, like, when I was eating lunch. Patrick Tehan on YouTube. He's just amazing. He has helped me so much. And the thing is, too, sometimes I know that my trauma response can be to get defensive, and so listening to him talk and, like, explain things has been very helpful for me. Because even if sometimes at first I get very triggered, it's like I can't just yell at him. I mean, I can, but he's in the screen, and I'm not like that at therapy. I wouldn't yell at somebody, but it can be hard for me to. It's weird because I feel like I'm a very open person, but at the same time I'm not. I feel like over the years I'm not as open as I used to be. But also when I was younger, it's also because I would trauma dump everything on everybody. Yeah. But he has helped me realize different things about my childhood. And there's certain things he can't help me with, like, he specializes in childhood trauma, and I have a lot of medical trauma, and that's not even from my childhood, I mean, technically, but it's after, like, right after I turned 18 is when a lot of stuff started happening. So he can't help me specifically with medical trauma, health trauma stuff, but he's still, a lot of my health trauma is made worse by childhood trauma stuff, you know? It's, like, all interconnected. I mean, not necessarily connected, but like it just, they are connected in at least some way. And so he's helped me a lot. And I've grown and matured ever since starting to watch his stuff. It's like realizing also my part in issues, and how, like, if I think about the person I was in high school, I would not be I wouldn't be friends with the person I was in high school, but I don't think I would be very close with me. I don't know. I go back and forth. I don't know if I'd be friends. Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. Depends on my mood. As of today, I think I would be friends with who I was back in school, but I wouldn't, because I was a very kind person, and I think I still am now, but like, I think I was a very kind person, but I still had a lot of insecurities and a lot of projections onto other people, and I wasn't the person. And when you're growing up, it's like you're growing, you're learning, of course, and things that were going on at home, of course, that made me into the person that I am. But I don't want to say I don't regret anything in life. Like, I honestly don't. I think everything is part of my soul's purpose and journey, and I'm supposed to like help heal myself through everything personally, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything. But so I wouldn't go back and change who I was when I was younger, but you know, so I don't want to say, I do wish that things were different, like, but at the same time, it's very understandable how I was the way I was. And now I can look back, and I'm very proud of myself for being introspective and realizing, hey, like, I'm not letting my ego win today. I wasn't the greatest person back then, but I can do the best that I can now, and I'm not like the best person in the world, but I really think I'm a really good person, and a lot of that is because of how I've worked on myself and the experiences I've been through. And I feel like growing up, I was a very judgmental person, and a lot of that is because of the projections I saw from my parents. Sorry, Mom, I know you're watching this. I love you. But like how people would project from like how they view other people, like on screen or like in real life, like, and talking about different things, and like negative energy about different people saying negative things. And it's like, so I would be very judgmental and not even knowing where it would come from. But now it's like, no, it's because of how I would perceive things from my parents, especially, and my surroundings, because I grew up in North Dakota and in the Fargo area all throughout my childhood, and I can honestly say that is a very close-minded place to be. Like, North Dakota's very close-minded. Fargo is getting better in general with the younger population, but it's just, it could still be so much better. Like, there's so much progress that needs to be made. And also all the people who are younger want to move out of North Dakota if they can, because it's like, it is so close-minded. It's not a safe space for a lot of like young and queer kids and just people in general. Like, you know, I'm queer, I'm bisexual, and even though I live in a place that's honestly very similar in Minnesota, here's the thing, a lot of small towns are like Fargo and where I live now. If you live in the bigger cities, they're more open-minded because people encounter different experiences, and that just opens your eyes and everything. But I personally I don't know, actually. In Minnesota, I'll say, as a state, I'm a lot happier being in Minnesota than in North Dakota. In my small town area where I'm now, it isn't necessarily still a safe space because, again, small town mentality, people, that kind of stuff. I think the Midwest is a lot like the South in so many ways, and I've said this before. And one of those reasons is like religion, and so I'm not religious, and if you go against like what like the Christian faith says in the Bible, then people in my area are very weird about that. Not just with human sexuality, but for many things, you know. I mean, even having all these tattoos, people would be like, what? Yeah. I feel like there's more I want to say. whenever I ramble, I feel like it always gets deep. But that's just the kind of person I am. I'm a very fun-loving person, but if you're gonna be rambling on with me, especially if I'm talking to myself, but just out loud, I will be getting deep. See, that's how I ramble though. It's like, I feel like I haven't completed one single thought. I just, like, something else gets brought up in the conversation and then I just move on to that. Like, I literally never get bored because I always have, like, there's always thoughts going on in here. And some people say they don't have that internal dialogue. I am talking to myself all the time. So much is going on in here and I'm always, like, thinking about stuff from my childhood, from the past, from the present, things in the future. I'm always thinking about the future. Spirit is telling me to stop with that, to, like, live in the present moment more, and I'm doing better at it, but they're still, like, telling me a lot, like, hey, do better with that. So this is also a good thing for me too, in the stream of consciousness, like, let things out, because if I always just keep it in here, sometimes it's like, it just cycles through. I cycle through the thoughts. But a lot of this stuff I feel like I've talked about before on here, but I don't know, this is just things that I think about, things that are deep. I feel like, honestly, the one class that I enjoyed in college before I dropped out was philosophy. I love thinking philosophically. The only planet I have in Sagittarius, which is the philosopher sign, is Pluto, so that's a generational thing, so. But my twin sister is not, like, philosophical or anything, I don't know. But it is in my 4th house, so it's like inner consciousness, thinking about things deeply. Yeah. Is there anything else I want to say before I go? Just, I don't know, I could, like, literally, one of these days, if I get enough people who are, like, subscribed and want to watch a live stream, I could literally just talk. If you ask me a question, I could just talk about anything, especially things I care about and I'm interested in, forever. Like, I could always find a way to, like, loop different things in and talk, and then if it's this thing, then it moves on to this other topic that was somehow related or was brought up. Like, I'm always talking in here. And then if people ask me a question, if you give me the space and if I'm alone, I'm gonna keep talking. But yeah, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much and these kinds of videos go by really fast too. I love just talking it out, because here's the thing too. I live with my mom. I still don't have any friends in this area, so I don't really ever talk to people, like, actually physically. So maybe if I ever talk to people, it's like through text. So I feel like that's why too, whenever I see my sister, I always want to have, like, a lot of conversation about things and keep it going. Like, I don't want to just play a game, I want to talk. But a lot of people give, like, one-word answers. I'm like, I like to express myself. Yeah. Okay. I am going to end the video now. I love you so much. Let me know your thoughts on anything I said. Maybe disagree. But I love you. Bye.